But I wanted to talk about how, okay, so we have established that you have to, it's a mindset, right? So you have to go, okay, I'm doing this for me. And you have to, like, but for me, I don't know about you guys, but at least I do have to have a goal, but more of like a 5-year goal. Where do I want to be? Because then you can do baby steps to get there. And that's doable, because hopefully in 5 years you have not, you're able to achieve that, right? So with that being said, there's willpower. So I do know, like, how if the stuff's not in my house, I'm not going to eat it. Where people say, I mean, what would you say on that? Where people are like, you just need to have willpower. You just have to not eat it. Even though it's staring you in the face, you wouldn't, somebody that's addicted to cocaine, you wouldn't put a pile of cocaine in front of them.
Right.
You would just, you would remove it.
Yeah.
So, and sugar is actually worse than cocaine.
Yeah.
More addictive, they say. So, to have that in your house, right? Would you say it's okay? What do you think about the willpower part of it?
Yeah. So I think that there's two things about willpower, right? There definitely is a psychological component that we are always talking about. Is that you need to have the strength to be able to say, no, that's not me. That's not what I want to do. That's not who I am. So I'm not going to, do that or do this or eat. Okay, right? But then there's also a physiological thing that's happening. And that's what I was saying earlier about food being a drug, is that unfortunately what happens is that, we've talked about this before, your body just being kind of this dumb machine. And that as soon as you treat it or teach it something and you consistently do it, it's going to feel like that's what normal is. Yeah. So then when all of a sudden you start consuming certain foods, and those foods have certain types of ingredients or nutrients or whatever, because they are drugs, okay, right? They are chemicals, okay, right? All of a sudden your body starts saying, setting itself up for that, okay, right? And we talk a lot about that with sugar.
Yeah.
And we talk about the fact that, well, when all of a sudden, you consume so much sugar, and when you consume so much sugar, you kind of have this cycle that begins happening in your body, okay, right, with insulin and with blood glucose and with different types of hormones as well too, and excitability, if you will, right? And so all of those things start playing into the fact of, wait a second, I don't want that sugar, but whoa, my body is kind of set up to actually want more of that. I've got to break that situation, but my body's going to kind of want me to go in that area, right?
It like talks to you. Like they're in your pantry going, you need to come get me.
Well, it's funny that you said that, is because that is something that they've actually done some study on. They've done some study on where they will put, different types of sweets in front of individuals, and they will show that all of a sudden their insulin will rise just from the sight.
Your salivary glands, all of it starts to prepare. Like that was the part of the things like that I learned even like in school, that when you're people that cook are typically leaner, because they're actually, once they're making the food, their salad that gets their glands going, which I'm getting chills telling you because that must be right. But it gets your whole glands going, and your digestive enzymes start to like juice up, so they're ready for you to eat the food, which is so interesting. I get full on chills. That means it's right.
Yes.
But it's interesting because we don't think of any of that stuff. Like I know this stuff isn't like, okay, I'm going to give you a diet pill and you're going to lose weight. But this is the stuff that we can sustain, right? If we can just learn different ways that aren't typically taught on a diet or any of that, because they can't make money off of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Your body,
tools.
Your body essentially is preparing for whatever is coming in, and obviously it has a history, and it has, an entire memory system that says, well, usually when someone ate this type of object, which was a cookie that had sugar, I had to remove that sugar from the bloodstream. So I increased, or I initiated an insulin response, and blah, 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 blah. Well, when all of a sudden that's not there, meaning that you don't actually consume the sugar, but the insulin has still increased, its levels increased, it's now going to want to find that sugar in the bloodstream. But if it's not there, it's going to cause you to want that. So that's what I'm saying, is that on one hand, you've got a psychological component, but on the other hand, you do have a physiological component.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, having this mindset. Your body at times is indeed working against you, or the benefit of you at that time because you've taught it something before.
So would you say to just remove the temptation?
Well, I think that just like you mentioned about earlier, you wouldn't put a pound of cocaine, in front of a cocaine addict. Well, same thing with an alcoholic, right? You wouldn't.
True.
For me,
Addiction.
crumble cookies.
Yeah. And addiction is.
We need to go to Candy
Yeah.
Anonymous.
Oh my God.
Candy's
there
I
Anonymous.
told
should
my
be a-
husband he can't DoorDash crumble cookies because I become
Oh my
a
gosh,
slave
that's
to it.
amazing.
I'm
I
like,
can't have them.
have to eat it.
Yes.
It's so hard.
I totally
And then
get
I
you.
hate myself after.
Yes.
But so with all that being said, so removing it, but also is there sometimes where you find, okay, like with the sugar, I do
Removing
know you
it,
make
just to let you know, removing it is a temporary fix.
I know, but it helps. It
No.
takes longer to go get it again.
No, completely. That's you do need to do that.
DoorDash it.
No. You completely need to do that. It's just that there comes a point in which you've got to, get to the other phase, which is even though it's there, you're just like, it's not for me. That's not what I'm doing right now, right? And I'm not saying that you remove it completely. That's another thing, is that, as most things outside of really harsh chemicals and things like that, they are made for the body. People kind of demonize sugar all the time. I don't demonize sugar at all. Okay, right? Especially when it's natural sugar. I don't demonize it at all. The body has the ability to handle sugar. The body just doesn't. I think it really all bases on your health of metabolism. How healthy is your pancreas? How healthy is your insulin response? How healthy is all of those things? And if it is, then you have the ability to consume it, and then you have the ability to consume it in the pace in which, that's the biggest problem, is that, like I was saying earlier, nature never thought, and evolution never thought that you were actually going to take an entire, 5-foot sugar cane and squeeze it into an 8-ounce serving of beverage and then drink it within, 20, 30 seconds. That right there is the issue. Sugar's not the issue. The issue that you concentrated it into a product or a thing, and then you consumed it at such a pace that the body didn't have the ability to keep up. That's the issue.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense. So I mean, when I did the Sugar Busters, which by the way was probably, it was such an old school,
Yeah.
I think it was a flight, 21 maybe. But I did Sugar Busters, and I never will forget. They said they compared a can of Coke to 4 cups of sugar.
Right.
That's disgusting.
Right.
4 cups of sugar. That's gross.
Yeah, right.
So I wasn't a pop drinker anyways, but that's even sicker. That's gross.
Right.
I mean, that's a good way to think of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
No, it is. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. It's just that, I think that what people need to recognize is that, all of these natural types of foods or ingredients, and such, they're not necessarily harmful for the body, but how you can use it could become harmful for the body.
Yeah.
And I think that once you become conscious of okay, so if food is good and it's healthy and it's great for you and it's packed with nutrients, it's the fuel that your body needs to perform and to function. But you could use food in a ill way by consuming too much of it, by getting rid of a food group that's healthy, like they talk about carbohydrates and things like that, or these diets that, just completely eliminate a certain food group or food, I think you've got to be really careful about that sort of stuff, because it's not the food, it's the way that you are handling it.
Well, I think that's a good point, and we can kind of go into that even now that we're, so with women that are hormonal, we go on all these diets that take out the carbs. Well, I'm just letting you know, if you're hormonal, you need carbs, and it really is what fuels us.
Sure.
And so if you don't get your carb intake in, you're going to eat it at night, and then you're in deep trouble, because that's when you create your HGH, and that's our human growth hormone. So ladies, men, you don't want to mess that up, because we need everything we can get, right? But if you're eating that at night, it doesn't produce it because
Right.
it works on digesting the food.
Yep.
So I believe what what you're saying. I think that's. But how would you say is it? I think that we've gotten out of portion control, and how would you say you would suggest to keep it all in, but keep it all on the perimeters where we can stay healthy and not over.